LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
Welcome to From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers, a podcast brought to you by College Recruiter Job Search Site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career, and hosted by Work Defined. Join our AI co-hosts as they dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Let's get your career started.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we are digging into a massive stack of career advice and workplace stories, all centered on one of the riskiest strategies out there for getting a pay bump.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the idea of getting a raise without ever actually formally asking for one.
That's right. We're going to be exploring the very high-stakes world of signaling, where an employee tries to subtly, or maybe not so subtly, let their boss know they might be interviewing somewhere else.
Yeah.
And our mission for this deep dive is to look at all this anecdotal evidence we found and figure out, is this tactic a brilliant life hack? Or is it just a really fast ticket to the unemployment line, especially now in the pretty weird job market of 2025?
The sources are just incredible. I mean, we've distilled dozens of personal accounts from these huge online discussions.
And they have everything.
Everything from, these massive quick successes to just dramatic immediate firings. It almost reads like a survival guide written by workplace spies.
Chuckles. Yeah, it really does.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little. At its core, this whole tactic, it relies on leveraging your employer's fear, right?
Right.
But the sources give this really stark warning that seems to determine success or failure before you even start. What is that crucial distinction?
The whole principle is you're tapping into the company's mindset. And let's be honest, companies are usually way better at preventing a loss than they are rewarding loyalty.
Okay.
So you're basically turning yourself into a flight risk, and you're hoping they'll offer you more money to stay. And this is the but this strategy is only going to work if you know where you actually stand.
Mm-hmm.
Are you what the sources call an important cog, or are you a regular cog?
That's a pretty brutal way to put it. I mean, how can you, the listener, honestly figure out which one you are without, falling for your own biases?
Well, that's the critical self-evaluation that so many people just skip. An important cog, they usually have one of three things: either proprietary knowledge that would take months to teach someone else, or deep, complex client relationships, or some unique skill that's really hard to find on the market right now. If your job can be easily documented and someone else can be trained on it for less than the cost of giving you a big raise,
then you're probably a regular cog.
You're probably a regular cog. And it's not about how hard you work, it's about your replacement cost.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, signaling you're looking for a job is, well, it's like handing your boss your own termination notice.
Right. In that situation, they might just say, oh, best of luck, and, let us know if you need a reference.
Exactly. They see it as an easy way out of a potentially mediocre situation.
Okay, now let's get to the fun part, the sheer theater of it all. The specific tactics people use are, they're genuinely clever. It's all about inference and, office gossip.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about planting that little seed of doubt. The most famous one, of course, is the clothing signal. The suit. Showing up on a casual Friday, or really any day, wearing a full suit or just dressing, way, way snazzier than usual. And then when someone asks, you give a really vague excuse.
My favorite one from the sources was the person who claimed they had a formal dentist appointment.
A formal dentist? I love that.
Right. What even is that? But it's just confusing enough and just plausible enough to suggest something secretive is going on.
And it works because that change in appearance, especially in a place where everyone's in jeans and t-shirts, it's like a siren going off. We found one anecdote about an engineer. His whole appearance just changed. New haircut, wore a jacket, looked sharp.
And his boss noticed.
Instantly. His boss just assumed he had an interview. He got a 20% raise in 2 days, and he hadn't even applied anywhere yet.
Wow. Then there's the subtle prop play, which is just pure office espionage. It really relies on managers just being nosy.
It does. This is where you accidentally leave some printed evidence where it's sure to be seen, resume on the shared printer tray, or maybe a folder on your desk with a competitor's name on it.
Right.
One story detailed this guy who left a printed state job application out on his otherwise spotless desk. His manager saw it, called him in. The guy just said he was feeling a bit stagnant. And a week later, he had a raise and a promotion.
What's so fascinating is how often just the implied threat, a suit, a piece of paper, is enough to get instant action. It just proves that suspicion that the company's holding back until they're afraid of losing you.
And sometimes it's not even intentional. We read about an employee who just asked for a random Thursday off.
Yeah, to hang out with a friend.
Right. And the manager immediately panicked, just skipped HR, went straight to him and asked, "Are you interviewing?" It just shows you the level of anxiety some managers has about their key people.
We have to mention the employee who hadn't gotten a raise in 5 years.
Oh, that one was amazing.
So he finally starts applying elsewhere. After an interview, he's talking about it with a coworker in Spanish, and he has no idea a regional director is standing nearby and understands every single word.
And that director immediately stepped in, pulled some strings, and a week later, boom, a decent raise.
The leverage wasn't his work quality. It was getting caught with 1 foot out the door.
Exactly. And that brings us right to this problem of managerial blindness.
Yes, that's the crucial divide, isn't it? This bluff only works if management actually sees and cares about your value, and they don't always get it, especially if they have huge teams.
Absolutely. A manager's job isn't always tracking every little thing an employee does. We saw this great anecdote that offered a kind of antidote to this. A manager named Sam Raya.
Right, the weekly meals.
Yes. He held these weekly informal paid lunches, sometimes one-on-one, sometimes small groups, just to hear what was going on, the good, the bad, the ugly. He was making sure he was informed before there was a crisis.
That kind of intentional check-in really closes that gap. But then, on the other hand, sometimes management knows your value perfectly well, and they still choose to stick to their rigid rules.
That's right. They see you as an expense to be managed, not talent to be retained.
Welcome to Ghosted by the Machine, the podcast about work, hiring, and all the things no one explains after you click Submit Application. We talk about broken hiring systems, AI filters that eat resumes for sport, recruiter ghosting, and the very real humans trying to survive it. Each episode features real stories, honest conversations, and just enough sarcasm to stay sane. No buzzwords, no thrill to announce, no advice written by an algorithm pretending to be a thought leader. If you've ever wondered where your application went, you are in the right place. This is Ghosted by the Machine. No resume required.
The Lockheed example.
The Lockheed example really highlights this. You have this crucial expert employee. He gets an external offer for a 50% raise. His managers go to bat for him, say he's irreplaceable, knows all his proprietary software.
And HR says no?
HR says no. They refuse to even authorize a 25% raise to keep him because it violated their internal pay bands. So the company chose to lose this unique expert just to stick to a policy.
And we also saw the really irrational side of management, where it's not even about logic, it's about spite or control. The story of the manager who kept blocking an employee's promotions. Then, when that employee gave his notice, the manager was so furious he couldn't fire him that he forced him to quit on the spot.
Right, just to burn the bridge. It just reinforces that if the relationship is already that broken, a 20% raise isn't going to fix the real problem.
Okay, so managerial issues are one thing, but let's zoom out. How does this high-stakes bluffing game play out in the very unusual labor market of 2025? This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, the current market is this weird, dangerous paradox. I mean, officially, unemployment is low, which should mean workers have the upper hand.
Right.
But jobs are still incredibly hard to find for a lot of people. And the reason is that with high interest rates, companies are just freezing hiring. They're holding on to the people they have. It's sometimes called labor hoarding.
So they're playing the devil you know game. It's less risky to keep a current employee than to hire someone new in an uncertain economy.
Precisely. They are risk-averse on hiring, which, you'd think would make the bluff more effective. But at the same time, workers are also risk-averse.
Because of last in, first out?
Exactly. If you jump to a new company, you're the newest hire. You're the most vulnerable if they have to do layoffs. So it keeps people stuck where they are.
So the end result is that the risk of trying this bluff is just extremely high right now. The consensus from what we read was pretty sobering. There's at least a 50% chance your boss will call your bluff.
50%.
Mm-hmm.
Either they call it or they fire you for what they see as disloyalty, or they start the process of quiet firing.
We should probably clarify what quiet firing is.
Yeah, it's a very deliberate process. It's when managers make your life miserable. They pull support. They block you from training. They give you dead-end projects. They ignore your reviews, all to get you to quit on your own.
So they don't have to pay severance.
It saves the money, yeah.
So is that 50% risk number based just on performance? Or is it more about the company culture?
It's really a mix of both. You could be a star performer in a toxic culture,
Yeah.
and the risk is still high because managers can be irrational. Or you could be a mediocre performer in a great culture, and the risk is still high because they see you leaving as a net positive for them. That number reflects this weird combination of managerial anxiety and organizational fragility right now.
And the stories of retaliation are just... They're really troubling. There was the manager who was already looking for a reason to fire an employee.
The credit card incident.
Yeah. The employee accidentally used the company card once at a bar, paid it back immediately, but because he didn't report the mistake right away, the manager used it as an excuse, fired him 2 days later for misuse.
And then you have those dramatic, you're fired, I quit showdowns, like the employee who got a better offer from a competitor. When his manager couldn't get HR to match it, the employee gave his notice.
And the manager was so angry about losing him to a rival
that he fired him on the spot for applying to a competitor in the first place. It just shows that some places will prioritize control over everything else.
The painful reality that so many people pointed out is, if the only way your employer will act to keep you is out of fear, it's probably already too late.
That's the logical conclusion, yeah. That lack of proactive recognition means you should probably be working on your exit plan anyway. Negotiation as a social norm is sort of gone. Job hopping is now the main way people get big salary jumps, $15,000, $20,000 at a time. It's just easier.
So if bluffing is too risky, what's the better, more sustainable way for a high performer to get fair pay without all the drama?
The sources seem to point to a pretty clear sequence. Step 1. Make a clear, data-driven case for a raise first. Use market comparisons, document your wins, show them what you should be paid.
Give them a chance to do the right thing.
Right, and only if that fails, then you go find another job and execute your exit. It avoids that feeling of extortion.
Okay, let's talk about a different path. A way to boost your own value that managers haven't quite caught up to yet, using modern tech for huge productivity gains.
This is a really fascinating shift. We saw multiple senior engineers who were using advanced AI tools, ChatGPT, Claude, custom internal models, to just obliterate their workloads.
How so?
Well, they're taking complex tasks that, on the old project charts, were estimated to take 4 days, and they're finishing them in 30 minutes.
30 minutes? That's an insane gain. But how does that affect their pay? Is the company paying for the task, or are they paying for the 4 days they thought it would take?
And that's the tension. That's the core insight. Right now, most companies pay based on the perceived time and complexity, not the actual time it takes with these new tools.
So if you use AI to do 4 days of work in an hour,
you deliver the project way early, looking like a rock star, and you've just created a massive amount of discretionary free time for yourself.
So you get all this efficiency and free time, but the company just sees the same output for the same salary.
Precisely. The bean counters and the HR pay models just haven't caught up to this level of productivity arbitrage. The employee is boosting their own value internally, and their performance metrics are off the charts without ever having to bluff or threaten to leave.
So after all this, what's the ultimate takeaway for you, the listener, when it comes to negotiation and managing this risk?
Well, to sum up our deep dive, the bluff can work, but it works best when you already have a ton of documented leverage and, frankly, a real safety net like another job offer in hand. But in this 2025 market, which is so cautious about hiring and so sensitive to disloyalty, the risk of getting fired, or quiet fired, is substantial, even if you think you're a high performer.
So the smartest play is just continuous preparation, either by proactively communicating your value, like that Sam Rea manager model,
Right.
or by constantly keeping your resume updated and your network warm so that if you ever do need to leave, you're ready to go immediately.
Yeah.
And we'll leave you with a final thought to mull over. If new technology like AI is now letting some employees do 4 days of work in just a few hours, and it's shifting that value calculation so dramatically, How long will it be before companies change their pay models to reflect that? Or will employees just quietly keep those massive productivity gains and all that resulting free time for themselves?
This has been From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers. A podcast brought to you by College Recruiter job search site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career. Each episode, we dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Subscribe to this podcast for free now, so you don't miss an episode, and visit www.collegerecruiter.com to find your next great job.